Okay, so that is the first row all done. This is called a foundation chain row. So this is how it looks. I did go slightly wrong at the end, where I think what I've done is I have actually done too many chains at the end of the first bit, and then I went into the gap, so I think I misjudged the 6, but that's totally fine because it's all going to be holes in it anyway, so it doesn't really make a big deal. And you then have to chain 3. So the chain 3 or the chain 1, whichever pattern you look at. If it's a chain 3, that means you're doing a bigger stitch, which means like with this is the treble. Or if you were doing a single stitch, you only chain 1. But most of the things, unless you're making like a toy or you're going around in a circle, wouldn't really, I don't think, class as going up. But to go up to the next row, you always use a chain 3, a chain 1, chain 2, just depending on what stitch you're using. As I said, this one is a treble crochet that we're using, so we've used 3 chains is what they've said. So then we've chained 3, and we use this first chain here, this first chain 3 that I've just made. This will be our first treble, so we will do that again at the end of the row. So then what we do is we just do the chain over again. So these little V stitches where you made the chain 2s, so you've done the treble, the chain 2, and then the treble. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put 4, 3, and you're going to put 4. So you've put 4 into there, which if you look at the beginning of the pattern will be these, as you can see. So they are chain 4s, and then you're missing the bit in between that we didn't do a chain with. So you've done the chain, you've done the treble, the chain 2, the treble into one gap, and then you just go straight on and you miss, and you don't do no chains, and then you just go in and do the treble, the chain 2, and then the treble again. So these bits here are the bits that we didn't actually make a chain for, so you don't need to work these. The only ones you made a chain for are the ones that are in the middle, which class as a V. As you can see, it looks like a V. So the only stitches we are going in at the moment, and the holes, are the V's, which have the chain 2 in them. So we've done the 4 into the chain 2. We are then going to do miss that bit, so we're going to then miss this little bit here because this has got no chain on it at all, and we're going to go into this hole here. So this hole here is where the V is, and you've got the chain 2 spaces. So then you're just going to turn it, and you're just going to end up doing another 4, 2, 3, and you're going to do 4. So there's another 4, and again you miss that chain space. It doesn't always look very nice, as you can see there. Look, it doesn't, you have that bit of a gap, but you're not really going to see it as there, like it just kind of pushes it in. Can't really see it so well, so it just depends on how close you want it. But because you always don't have that chain space and you're having to try and do a treble, it most of the time does get hard to try and close the gap unless you're going to make the stitch really tight. So as again, we're just going to do a 4. So we're doing a 4, and you have to do it. You ignore my yarn; it all gets tangled up every time I make something. I always get tangled up yarn. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got enough to keep going. There we go. And then again, another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you should have 4s. So this way is how I like a nice way, but you're going to have to keep turning anyway. So it's not really a big deal. But when I would make the dress at the end and I would sew it all up and do whatever needs to be done, I would have this side as the nice side, because if you can see all these stitches here, they look really nice, where these ones down here are only like bits to make the hole and to make the bit of pattern. So to me, I would rather have that horrible bit than that horrible bit, where if you turn it around and you see, some people might like this bit, and think, oh actually that looks fine, I want it that way, then it's completely up to you. But for me, I don't know why, I always like to have it that way. That's just how my preference is, and I like it. So that is at the moment what we have. So you just keep doing that all the way to the end, and then it says when you get to the end, so when you get all the way to the end here, sorry, you are going to then do 1 into this gap here. So where you've done the chain 6 to start with, if you make them loose enough, it should be able to get you to help you with it. Sometimes it can be a bit tight. Instead, you just put the stitch in the end and you just make 1 treble in that gap. But what I'll do is I'm going to keep going along, and I'm just going to keep going, and when I get to the end, and then what we'll do is we'll just go back, and I think it's pretty much the same pattern the whole way through, but I'm just gonna have a look. If it is, what I'll do is then I'll just end the video here, and I'll tell you how many rows of that you need to do, and then once you've got to the amount of rows you do, so like once I keep going on and I've got enough rows that I want to do, then I'll go into the next bit and I'll go into the shaping of it, so the side bits and the panels and whatever there is. Like the next bit after this will be shaped. So once I've done this, I'll come back. I think it's just pretty much the same, so I'll just have a look at that. And then if it is, it then does say repeat these 4 rows. If you're doing these 0 to 6 months, you don't repeat this row again, so you only do 4 rows, and I will go through those 4 rows for you. I think they're the same as I said, but I will go through those 4 rows. So we'll do row by row by row, that's fine. And then the 6 to 12, the 12 to 18, the 18 to 24, and the 2 to 3 year old, you'll do this 4 rows that we're going to do, you'll do them 1 more time. So you'll end up with 8 rows of the pattern, and you'll do the 4 sets that we're going to do now, hopefully now. You'll do that, and then you'll do it all again. So you've then got the video to go back onto and think, actually, how do I do row 1 again? You just look back on the video. But what I'll do is I'll go to the end, and if I can, I will do the second row and the 3rd row. If it's any different, then I will show you slowly. If it's not different, then I would just say repeat the row, and we'll just keep going.